So ladies and gentlemen, today our guests are Alicia and Raphael, who come directly from Brazil to check out how the beers at Hofbräu München are being produced, because they love beer as much as they love food and traveling, and well, actually they're starting a world tour. And I'm hopeful and glad that they are starting at the Hofbräu house and at Hofbräu München. And well, what we will see now is how the beer is produced at Hofbräu München, what makes it great, and why it is served all over the world. And afterwards, the both will show you how the things at the Hofbräu House restaurant in the inner city of Munich will work out. So enjoy the trip and follow Alicia and Raphael on that trip around the world.
Então agora o Stefan vai nos mostrar um pouquinho da fábrica, de toda a produção, como é feita. São inúmeros detalhes que a gente, quando bebe uma cerveja, nem consegue imaginar.
What we see behind is our production plant. This is where we produce our beers. I will show you around. Let's have a look how the beers at Hofbräu München are being produced. Well, we produce around about 350,000 hectoliters of beer per year, and we are the smallest of the well-known 6 Munich breweries that delivered the Oktoberfest in Munich. Spaten, Löwenbräu, Hacker, Paulaner, Augustiner and Hofbräu. Only these 6 breweries, these Munich breweries, may deliver the Oktoberfest. Oh. And among these 6 breweries, we are the smallest one. In the brewery we got 130 employees at the moment. 1/3 of it is in the production area, the brewers and the filling line. 1/3 is the complete logistic parts, and 1/3 is the administrative part and sales. So when the beer is brewed, the water is mixed with the ingredients like malt and hops. It's not a beer yet. It needs to be cooled down because we need to add the yeast, and the yeast don't like high temperatures. It would die. So first the beer is cooled down and then the yeast is added. This is the Worth cooler where the beer is cooled down, and this is a yeast propagation plant where we produce our own yeast. This is where the yeast is being produced to get that much you need for the next beer tank. So you got the beer produced, or the Worth produced, you cool it down.
Yeah.
You add the yeast, that it becomes a lot, that much that you need for the next tank. And in the tanks, the yeast is added to the Worth, to the young beer, and then the yeast starts to take the sugar and makes alcohol and carbon dioxide of it. So that what makes the beer a beer is the yeast.
Okay, yeah.
That's only the yeast to store it between the different brewing processes. You got 5 tanks with a capacity of 31 hectoliters. 1 hectoliter means 100 liters. And you got 3 tanks with 60 hectoliters. So it's 5 tanks with 3,100 liters and 3 tanks with 6,000 liters of just yeast. This is where the yeast is produced, and the yeast is restored, because you can use the yeast several times for the brewing process. After the beer is being brewed and the yeast is added, it needs to be stored for several weeks in a cold place, and this is the storage and fermentation tanks. Yeah, we got quite a lot of them where we need to store our beers for 4 up to 6 weeks. It's depending on the kind of beer type, a lager beer, or is it a wheat beer, or is it a Bock beer, or is it a Oktoberfest beer. A lager beer would probably take approximately 6 or 7 days for the fermentation, and a wheat beer is taking approximately 2 or 3 days. So after the yeast has done its work, the beer needs to be stored for between 4 up to 6 weeks with a temperature of between 0 and minus 1.5 degrees. That's what happens in these tanks here. In this area, the beer is being filtrated before it is bottled, because we need to filter out like proteins or the yeast to make the beer stable and to give it a long shelf life. When the beer is filtrated, it is very clear in color and it's got a long shelf life, so it may probably have about 12 months of shelf life. Then we don't do any kind of pasteurization like breweries in America or other countries do. The beer is only short-term heated up to 72 degrees for around about a minute, and then you've got a shelf life of around about 12 months. So the beer can be stored for up to 1 year. But it should, of course, be drunken as fresh as possible. Well, at the moment, the new malt is being delivered to the brewery and it's being put on in the storage tanks directly from this truck. All the malts used at Hofbräu München are delivered from Bavarian malt houses. We only use local ingredients for the brew of our beer. So the hops is coming from the nearby Hallertau, the biggest hop growing area in the whole world. The malt is coming from Bavaria, just a few kilometers away. And last but not least, the yeast is produced by ourselves. So that's the 4 ingredients we use for producing the Hofbräu beers, which all are produced in accordance to the German or the Bavarian purity law.
Aqui na Bavária, existe algum tipo de incentivo do governo para a produção desses pequenos produtores?
Probably I might not know this, because these are family companies which are growing hops for several 100 years, or the farmers.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition, and they take it over from their fathers and grandfathers, so that's a tradition. Well, we're standing in front of the well, which goes down 150 meters under the surface of Munich, and the water we transport for brewing our beers is 10,000 years old and free of any environmental pollutions. Well, what we're seeing here is after the beer is matured in the storage and fermentation tanks, the beer is being filled into the kegs, as you see on the side. With this, in this area, around about 200 kegs are being filled in 1 hour. In a row, the kegs are being filled after they've been cleaned out and washed with hot water, and then when the kegs are filled, they're being transported and stored in the behind area. Well, this is our washing machine, so the empty bottles come out of the crates, are being washed, and afterwards go its way to the filling line to be filled with beer. Well, after the bottles are washed, they are going through a bottle inspection machine which detects any kind of damage in the bottles or detects any kind of ingredients in the bottle. So if one of the bottles should be damaged or there should be something in the bottle, it is automatically sorted out. After this process, the bottles are being filled. Well, after the bottles have been washed, they are being filled in one round with beer and then closed with a crown cap on the other round. So then they leave completely filled and encapsulated. Well, this machine detects if the bottles are filled correctly. So if it's 0.5 liters per bottle, and after the filling, they are being washed 2 times so that the beer on the bottle outside is being washed away though. What comes next is the beer has been filled, the bottles have been cleaned, they're going around, and the etiquettes are put on the bottle. So we got the front and we got the back labels from the beers. Actually, we're filling a dark, unfiltered beer called Hofbräu München, which is for the winter months. Now the bottles have been washed, filled, have the crown cap on it, have been labeled, and are ready to be packed. What we've got here is a packaging machine who packs the 36,000 bottles per hour in a crate. At the moment, we are filling returnable 20 times 0.5 liter bottles into these crates for the German, Austrian and Swiss market. Each second beer of Hofbräu München is sold outside from Germany. Well, this is the part where the crates are put on a pallet and then being foiled and go to the storage area. Well, these are our storage places, and when the beer is being put on a pallet, it's taken away and it's being stored here, as well as the kegs. We got the crates, we got the returnable bottles, we got the non-returnable bottles, and from this area the trucks are being loaded when the beer is transported to the wholesalers and the restaurants. Well, the trucks are doing a round in the brewery, put away the empty bottles and crates, and then they are being loaded with new beer and with advertising materials, with glassware and everything like that. So we see there are several types of beers. There's another Munich brewery already on the truck, and now the Hofbräu beer is being loaded, and probably it will be sold in a retail market in Bavaria then.
Então, Stefan, queria agradecer a visita aqui, todas as informações que você trouxe pra gente. São valiosíssimas. Eu acredito que todos nós que amantes de cerveja, mas que também não conhecemos muito sobre o assunto, foi uma aula e tanto, e a partir de agora a gente vai poder apreciar muito melhor as cervejas da Bavária.
Alicia and Rafael, thank you very much for visiting Munich and for visiting the brewery, and enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
And if you should ever come to the Oktoberfest, let me know.
Yeah, we will come.
Thank you for your visit.
Nós viremos.
Brasileiros, venham Munich, se não, visitem Hofbräu Belo Horizonte.
Yeah.